Hello kids, welcome to Sabbath School. What you see here is a pelican. You know what a pelican is? It's a kind of bird that lives in the ocean, and it has a very special kind of food that it eats. It doesn't eat fruit because there isn't much in the ocean, and it doesn't usually eat seeds. But do you know what it eats? Pelicans eat fish, and this one's opening up its mouth, ready to eat some fish. Oh, he had some fish. Yum, 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 yum. Yum, 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 yum.
And he can poop it out.
Ah! And they poop too. That's what happens to your food. A scarlet macaw, in fact. And scarlet macaws don't usually eat fish. Instead, they might eat fruit or seeds or other things that they find in the jungle. And here is a blue and gold macaw. And look at, a small bird has just flown into the picture. It's another kind of parakeet. Look at that cute little thing. So birds are all different sizes and all different shapes, and they eat all kinds of different things. And each bird is unique. And God made special things just for each of them to eat. See, down here we have a little penguin.
Ooh.
And it eats usually fish, kind of like the pelican. And it's shaped different. Well, this one's shaped really different because it lives in the water and swims in the water. So God makes everything special, and each thing has its own kind of food that's special for it to eat. And that's very good because God made it so everything has what's best for it. And do you know that He made things that were best for us too? There's things that's best for us to do and things that's best for us to eat, because God knows exactly what's good for us because He made us. And today we're going to tell the story of Daniel and how God helped Daniel and his friends to choose what was best for them. This is Daniel and his three friends, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego back there. See Abednego? So Daniel and his three friends lived in the town of Jerusalem. There he is in his town with all the rest of the people. You see, why did this horse fall over? You see that Jerusalem was a western town. I bet you didn't know Jerusalem was a western town, but it says it in the Bible. Do you know how I know? Because it says that the Babylonians came from the east. So Jerusalem must be west. Ha ha. Anyway, Daniel and his friends lived in the town of Jerusalem. And Jerusalem was a nice town in a way, but they had not been worshiping God like they should have. Some people were doing things they shouldn't do. So there's a little bit of fighting in the town and stuff like that, and people worshiping idols. But Daniel and his friends had chosen not to do that. One day, Daniel and his friends were hanging out in the town when something pretty bad happened. The enemies from the east came along and they attacked. They attacked the town of Jerusalem. They fought with all these guys. They hurt them. And after the attack, they took, let's get some more guys in here. I think the king even came. There comes the king. See his mighty crown. You might think that the Babylonians are a little strange looking, but you know, sometimes that happens. And then guys came along with handcuffs. See those handcuffs in those guys' hands? And they handcuffed Daniel and his three friends. Together. So the guards made Daniel and Shadrach and Meshach and Abednego march through the desert handcuffed. and took them to the town of Babylon. When Daniel and his friends arrived in Babylon, they were surprised. They were expecting, after that march across the desert, to find that they were put in a prison or something, but instead, strangely, they were taken to this huge table full of all kinds of foods and wine and other things. And they were told, "Come on, sit down and eat." And Daniel and his friends weren't quite sure what to do. You see, as much as it was very tempting to eat all the good food because they were super hungry, they knew that the pies and the chicken
And the
croissants and the scorpions and all of this alcoholic drink and the hot dogs and the pizza
and about everything on the table
wasn't that good for them. Now, like the birds that we talked about before, God made us to eat specific things. We need to eat a lot more healthy fruits and vegetables and grains and things like that. And we probably shouldn't be eating a whole lot of meat or pizza or pies or alcohol of any kind. And Daniel and his friends knew that. And there was also another problem. The food that was on the table had been sacrificed to idols. So the Babylonians believed that this food would be like you getting special help from the Babylonian gods. But Daniel and his friends, they knew that the Babylonian gods wouldn't help them, and they didn't want it to look like they believed that they would. So what should they do? They went and they talked to the helper guy over here. And he was the king's helper. And they told him, maybe instead of this food, you could just give us some kind of more plain food. We can just go to the vegetable garden and pick some stuff, maybe a few carrots or something like that. And that's good. And the guy was like, "What? What do you mean? This is like the best food that you could have, and you want to eat some carrots? You kidding me?" And Daniel and his friends said, "Please." And the guy said, "Well, here's the problem, guys. The king expects you guys to be healthy and strong and smart and good. And if I don't give you the best food that the gods of Babylon have blessed, and you aren't feeling good, the king is going to cut off my head." And Daniel and his friends said, "Okay, can you just try for 10 days and see how it works? And if it doesn't work out well, we'll eat this food." And the guy said, "Okay, I guess we can try for 10 days. So Daniel and his friends went and got some vegetables out of the garden and picked a pineapple and maybe got a very healthy whole grain pretzel and some nice bread that was healthy bread. And they ate that, as well as handcuffs. They didn't eat any handcuffs. What are you talking about? That would be crazy. Those are the handcuffs they left behind. And they ate all of this healthy food, and they ate it every day. So Daniel and his friends, after 10 days, came for an examination to see if they were healthy. And the guards came in to examine him, and they decided that Daniel and his friends were the healthiest of all of the people that they saw. And so this guy said, "Well, I guess you guys can keep eating your carrots and stuff, because it seems to be working for you. I'm not sure why." And you know that Daniel and his friends, it wasn't just the food that they ate, it's because they trusted in God, and they knew that God would help them. And they did what God told them to, and God did help them. After 3 years, the king examined Daniel and his 3 friends, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and asked them all kinds of tough questions. And it turns out that Daniel and his friends were 3 times smarter. No, not 3 times, 10 times smarter than everybody else the king questioned. So the king made them rulers in the provinces of Babylon. So kids, Daniel and his friends did what God wanted them to do. They honored God. And because they did, God honored them. And that is our memory verse today. It comes from 1 Samuel 2:30. And it says, "Those who honor me, I will honor." So just like Daniel and his friends, you can honor God with the way you live, the way you eat, what you do, whether you obey or not. And as you honor God, God will take care of you and honor you. I hope you have a great Sabbath, and I look forward to seeing all of you next week. Bye-bye. The end.